This is Phoebe Green and the Locker of Destiny, written and read by me, James Dubern. Chapter 25, Payment. Despite a blizzard of threats, no sugar on your Weetabix, no sports, more sports, Miss Perivale's investigation fizzled out. Miss Parsley gave a long speech about the importance of staying in bed from lights out until the morning and made all the girls put their initials on a document. The only acceptable reason for being up and about was visiting the bathroom. The twins begrudgingly accepted that Phoebe now slept in the beauty bed and brushed their hair by the window. They complained about it bitterly, saying things like, "How does my hair look? Frozen solid, probably." And the other would respond, "I can barely see in this blinding light." One morning in mid-November, Phoebe looked out of Miss Parsley's office as the housemistress thumbed through some papers. The trees were leafless and bent against the wind, locked in a battle against the incoming winter. Beyond the woods, the sea churned and fought against itself. "Do you know where your parents are at the moment?" Miss Parsley asked. Phoebe's face remained blank. It was a question she had spent too many hours contemplating, but still couldn't answer. Her thoughts went something like this. Actual Mummy is in 2025, where she is either excitedly counting down the days until Christmas or talking to the police about my disappearance. But Miss Parsley thinks she's talking to Katie Green. So she's really asking about my grandmother's whereabouts. She must be in Kenya, because that was the reason Mummy is only starting at Perivale after Christmas. "She's in Africa, on business with Daddy," Phoebe said. The word felt foreign and gave her a shiver. "I see. What is it that your parents do?" Miss Parsley said. "It sounds terribly exciting." "They work in Africa," Phoebe said. "Yes, I understand. I wondered what they did for a living," Miss Parsley said. "Indeed," Phoebe said, smiling politely. She had no idea what her grandparents did in Africa all those decades before she was born. She just knew that Mummy had a childhood out in the wilderness with snakes and giraffes at every turn. "Well, anyway," Miss Parsley said, "they paid for the first term, which we have in our paperwork as spring. We didn't expect you until January, you see. Naturally, when you were dropped off in September, we used that money for this autumn term you've been enjoying, all that delicious lasagna. But now the spring term is fast approaching and we've asked your parents for payment and we haven't heard back." Phoebe shuddered at the thought of her grandparents receiving a letter from Perivale. She pictured them, freshly tanned from their foreign adventure, sitting at the breakfast table in their thatched cottage, an ornamental African mask freshly hung on the downstairs toilet. Grandpa looking forward to pulling the cover off his motorbike and setting off around the lanes. She imagined their wide-eyed disbelief when they read that their daughter was enjoying her first term at school, despite the fact they were watching that very girl smear marmalade onto her toast. "They're probably still in Africa. Where did you send the letter to?" Phoebe asked. "We have an address in England," Miss Parsley said. "When do you think they'll be home? We really need that payment soon." Phoebe shrugged helplessly. "Well, not to worry. They have to be back for Christmas, I'm sure, to look after you. So they'll see the bill when they return, any day now." "That means any day now I will be thrown out of Perivale," Phoebe reasoned. Her face went as pale as the November sky. Most days, the girls in Year 7 ran a cross-country course that led out of Perivale, down through the woods and along the beach. They were released from the start line at 1-minute intervals, but then waited for each other in the shadow of the trees. This particular day was cold and grey, but Phoebe liked being out in nature. She felt a pang of excitement as she passed through the school gate and crossed the gravel road. Among the oaks, she found Jade and Alice. "It's beautiful here," Phoebe said. "I actually like the 1990s. The trees are the same, but it's better without the pings and buzzes from my phone. Just the sound of birds and waves and you lot." Alice asked what Miss Parsley wanted. "She said my parents, by which she means my mum's parents, owe the school next term's fees. They aren't responding to the letters," Phoebe explained. "Oh dear," Alice said. "Why not?" "Because they're in Kenya," Phoebe said. "Luckily, because otherwise they'd get on the phone and I'd be rumbled." The girls followed a muddy path that weaved through the dark woods. As they emerged in the dunes, the view of the sea was vast and spectacular. The squawk of gulls and the salty air reminded Phoebe of trips to Monaco with her mum. It was her favourite Grand Prix, watching the cars whiz in and out of tunnels through the city. "I really miss my mum," Phoebe said. "But part of me wishes I could stay here. I love you two. And I don't even mind learning pointless needlework and baking. It's quite relaxing. But the moment my grandparents see that letter on their doormat, they're going to phone the school and ask why they need to pay again for Katie's first term. They'll say, our daughter's right with us. And Miss Perivale will say, no, your daughter's right here with us. It's a disaster waiting to happen. The girls made it to the beach and ran down to the shoreline where the sand was firm. They followed footprints made by other Year 7 bugs up ahead. Why do you think the Locker of Destiny didn't work? Jade asked. Because it isn't the Locker of Destiny. It's the Locker of Dusty Knee, as you said. It was fake and the universe knew it, Phoebe said. Wood doesn't time travel. It's too woody. Seagulls swooped over the wide, sandy beach. The girls panted, hearts beating against their chests. Finish times were posted on the wall and nobody wanted to be in the bottom group, except for the twins who refused to sweat and were quite pleased to be together at the bottom of the list. When do your parents, grandparents, whatever, when do they get back from Kenya? Alice asked. I don't know. Surely any day now. I can barely sleep as it is. Now I'll be keeping one eye at night to see if Miss Perivale is in the doorway, arms crossed, Phoebe replied. I have an idea, Jade said excitedly. Let's write another letter from Perivale that says, oh, sorry about that mix-up. Of course Katie hasn't arrived yet. There's nothing to pay. See you in January. Phoebe nodded as she thought about this. It doesn't solve the big problem, but it buys me a few weeks of warm meals and a bed before I'm turfed out onto the streets. Let's do it. We need to get that letter written and sent fast.